Lots of Age of Wonders 4 updates and reaction content here. So let's talk about their dev diary. This is their roadmap for 2023. This is actually super important, right? If you're interested in this game anyways, because this is going to tell us whether or not they are tracking on the major issues of the game and whether or not this is on their to-do list of things to improve. So let's have a look. All right. After the release of the Dragon Dawn content patch and the associated Wyvern update, it's time to look ahead. I'm Leonard Sass, I don't know this guy. Game director of the Age of Wonders series. They were sharing our roadmap for 2023, highlighting the free updates in store. In this development diary, we're going to delve deeper into our plan, show what we have coming up, and the reasoning behind it. All right, free update. Stability, multiplayer, quality of life, broad balance pass, diplomacy fixes, a standalone faction creator option. We talked about this patch already. It was okay. I thought the balance passes missed a little bit. We got the Watcher update, a major AI update, research and empire building, magic victory flow, and underground map. Okay, and these are the other ones that are coming up, right? Q4, yeah, okay. New item forge, war coordination, faction balance and identity, and water gameplay. All right, let's see. Fan focus had an exceptional launch. The game is Triumph's most ambitious and complex to date, offering more systems and customization options than ever before. This is what they do best, by the way. Their systems and customization options are excellent. Our goals extend beyond providing a fun experience for role players and tinkers. We aim to cater to power gamers, strategy connoisseurs, modders, and multiplayer fans. You, the core of our community. I like a statement like that. I'd like some evidence for that too. So let's hope the rest of their write-up here says that. Because right now, me, the strategy connoisseurs, modders, and multiplayer fans, the core of their community supposedly, cannot play their game right now. So I'm really hoping that this gets changed because I want to play more of their games. I really like the systems. All right, our initial focus was to improve core tech for stability, performance, and multiplayer. Good. The recent patch has done this to some degree. Good. And yep, we did go through a review of that. The major AI update. In a symmetrical strategy game like ours, AI plays a vital role. We've been working tirelessly to enhance its performance, making it more proactive in general and proficient in various subsystems. This summer's Watcher update will prioritize major AI improvements. Due to the complex nature of the AI, we unfortunately cannot bring AI fixes earlier for the Wyvern update. So the summer Watcher update hasn't happened yet, right? That's coming? Okay. So I didn't miss it. For a minute, I got worried that I missed it on one of the reviews of this. The AI is the most broken part of their game right now. And although they claim to tell that these people are the core of their community, I actually think the core of the people who bought this game are only going to play single player, right? They're just not going to they're not going to engage with the multiplayer side of this. So I think the majority of their people are actually going to be engaging with the AI. And the AI does not offer replayability right now. So this is essential that they do this. I don't know what this is going to look like quite yet. The state of the AI on release was exceptionally bad. Like, I'm accurate with exceptionally bad right there, right? Like a standout bad AI comparatively. So I really hope this is the case. I have no reason to doubt what they're saying. Good. This is needed and essential. Now, it doesn't really help me because I'm okay with the single player, and maybe if the AI is hugely improved, the single player will become more interesting, will become more challenging, and therefore more fun. But I'm not expecting that to be the case. But we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it. All right, freedom versus constraints. Some design choices, either intentionally or unintentionally, resulted in an overly flexible experience where everything is possible. While accessibility is important, we want choices to have consequences and factions to develop distinctively. We're planning to make significant effort in tightening several aspects of the game in the upcoming updates. I wonder how this will play with their systems. Some of the joy of their systems is how flexible they are. You can do the things you want to do. The downside of that is I don't find that I have a problem with the faction distinction. The problem I have is there's some things that are much better than others, and nothing stops me from getting the best things each time I play. So we'll see. I'm kind of curious what this means. It might be fun if you are forced to take some less than perfect things because they fit together in a way that you overall get what you want, but each individual piece might not be there. It might be fun. I'm not sure. I think that's a strength of their game that they're potentially fucking with, and I'm a little dubious about that because there's so many other things, so many other low-hanging fruit they could be fixing instead. So it depends what the cost of this is. Is this a ton of development time? If it is, I don't think it's worth it. If it isn't, no, I'm fine with it. On paper, we'll see what they actually do with it. So I guess in theory, as opposed to on paper. All right, research flow. One of our highest priorities is revamping the research system. Currently, it's too easy to acquire an abundance of tomes, causing balance issues and often resulting in homogeneous endgame factions. Our changes will limit players to a subset of tomes and affinities in a single session, encouraging more meaningful decisions and stronger faction identities. No, that is not the problem. Research is too fast, and that does result in homogeneous endgame factions. But the solution isn't limiting player accessibility to which tomes, unless they mean by this limiting tech timing. Tech is too fast. It's fine for the tier 1 tomes. It's too fast for tier 2, 3, 4, and 5 by a lot. So I feel like tech inflation is the problem. So I'm really dubious of limiting your tech to a subset of affinities. Like, that doesn't seem to solve anything. That seems to, am I really just going to be forced to take order tomes every single time as opposed to the tome that most synergizes with my strategy? I mean, we're going to see a little bit of how this is implemented, but I am dubious of that writing. It seems to like get half the problem but miss half the problem. So who knows? Maybe this is just not a very in-depth explanation. This is like a paragraph, this is a sentence, 2 sentences. So maybe there's a lot more going on here than I'm reading here. I can hope. I will remain cautiously optimistic that they are at least tracking on one of the big problems, which is research flow. This is a huge problem in the game right now. More checks and balances. We'll be introducing additional checks and balances to various mechanics, such as tightening rules for casting summons. That needs to happen. I already homebrew rules for casting summons in the games I play. Limiting the impact of direct damage spells on the world map. Yet the impact of direct damage spells on the world map don't do anything right now. Well, I suppose if they mean fixing the bugs where you can stack 2 50% movement debuffs on an army to get that army to have 0 movement, yes, they need to limit that. But I wouldn't have phrased it this way. Right now, the damage of damage spells on the world map isn't applying properly. So it's worse than it's listed. And it isn't very good anyway, particularly. So I'm not sure how I feel about this. We'll have to see what they do with this again. It seems like it's tracking on a problem, but it's like missing the specifics of the problem maybe, but maybe they understand what they're talking about here. And imposing more severe penalties for exceeding the hero cap. Yeah, I think that needs to happen. Although the hero cap is pretty homogenous right now. If it's basically the hero cap is 1 more heroes than the number of cities that you have access to, because you basically can't afford more than that. You can sometimes squeak out 2 more, but it is tricky because you basically have to give up something. You have to either give up city development or any other units or basically anything else if you're going to get 2 above the hero cap. And it's not actually the upkeep that kills it, it's the upfront cost that makes it so difficult. So we'll have to see what they do with that. But I think it's probably necessary. The heroes are super strong and the units are getting totally eclipsed by the number and availability of heroes early. So we'll see. Victory conditions. We aim to make winning feel like a true achievement and ensure losing feels fair. We acknowledge the need for improvement in Magic victory, which often occurs too early and doesn't scale along with map size / session length. We want player factions to actively prevent opponents from reaching victory rather than relying on PvE pressure. Expect a reworked Magic victory in the upcoming Watcher update. Seal's victory will return as a premium feature for Empires and Ashes. I know what a Seal's victory is. I didn't play the previous titles of this series, so I don't know what that means. But the Magic victory is by far the easiest victory to accomplish. It's also the most boring victory to accomplish, and it comes out way ahead of any other victory types. I'm not sure this game wants to be super grindy, although I might be wrong, in that the AI right now is not interesting. So grindy is tedious as opposed to fun. Maybe if the AI gets better, then it will become more fun as well as more grindy. We'll have to see. But I think nerfs to Magic victory seems good, and certainly the timing is way too early. But the timing is way too early because tech is too good. Like if they do something to make Magic slower, but they don't nerf tech, the problem's still there and just in a different, anyway. So let's hope. Maps. While map generation continues to evolve, there are specific areas we want to give extra attention to. For the Watcher update, we're enhancing the underground, making caverns more spacious and valuable, relocating or class of magic materials predominantly underground. I think those are the red ones. And granting high annex ranges for underground cities and introducing themed infestations through excavations. What do I think about that? I think it feels like they're so close on so many things. They have the realm of the problems, but not the specifics, right? The problems with map generation There may be related to Underground. Underground is okay right now. I often don't settle cities down there because of the way the caverns and digging out works. I find digging to be pretty bad because unleashing infestations, by and large, is a pain in the ass with the way the armies move around. So sending out scouts for resource extraction through digging is a fun idea, but in reality, it just results in your scouts getting killed by infestations being revealed when you have no army around to prevent that, and it took your whole turn to dig the fucking thing out. So I don't know how I feel about that. Themed infestations are whatever. Infestations are a very strong resource. If you do have the available military around to clear them, they give a ton of great rewards, as well as do things like boost your faction standing with city-states and that kind of stuff. But I think the problem with map generation is you can't get a well set up map for I was gonna say player interactions, but it's really empire interactions, right? It's tough to skirmish on these maps. The fights are almost always single giant blobs of armies versus single giant blobs of armies, with a single fight deciding the entire game. Movement is weird relative to the province spacing. In the early game, it's okay. In the late game, you're kind of too slow. You don't really want to spread out your stuff. The recall and summon spells are very expensive and tough to get to for the pacing of the multiplayer games anyways. Later on, I don't know. I don't know if this addresses what I consider the issues with the map generation. Certainly the fact that tracking on that's good, and they didn't say they aren't doing other things for the map, but I'm not sure that I would have. I don't think I would have targeted Underground as the biggest problem for maps. Water gameplay improvements are also planned, offering more reasons to explore and ways to exploit water provinces, as well as enhancing naval encounters. Lava gameplay, including lava walking and faction-specific lava sector exploitation, is under consideration. I have yet to do a game. I have a game in progress where I am attempting to do a thing where I'm converting a bunch of domains to ice domains to try to do something with that, and maybe that's the lava equivalent of that. Certainly I don't play any water maps right now because the water gameplay is so tedious, and tedious isn't even the right word. It's so undeveloped. It just feels like worse land maps. Sure, I don't mind water gameplay being buff, sure. We'll increase the number of notches on player distance and relative map size. Thank fucking God. So there's more granularity there. It doesn't address all of the problems I have, but it does hit one of the big ones, which is that it's very hard to get a sweet spot map. The maps are often just not there yet. So I think map improvements are a huge way that they could make this game better. So it's good to see them tracking on it. Again, this is another feature that I agree with the category, but I don't agree with the specifics. So that's interesting. New features. In addition to addressing issues, we're dedicating to introducing exciting new free features. The Golem update will bring a war coordination system for vassals. That will be good, allowing you to request assistance in attacking specific targets. This needs to come hand in hand with an update to how vassals provide armies. I think you as the war leader should control the vassal armies. Once they are in combat, you should just have complete control of them. The AI is not capable of coordinating with your overall game plan. It just isn't. And it's not capable of doing anything right now. But even assuming it gets buffed enough that they can fight on their own, I still think it's going to be worse than just having your own ability to control that. So I would love to see what they do with this. I hope it is, because right now, allied units in the area of your armies are a huge negative, because you can be pulled into fights that they basically position themselves in to be vulnerable to, because they don't know anything about army positioning. And then once that happens, your armies can be split by your allied armies being engaged in proximity to your armies. And that's a huge negative to having vassals around right now, to the point that if I have the option between having my vassal show up to the fights versus not having them show up to the fights, but their AI is the same as it is now with the engagement rules the same as it is now, I would rather not have them at all than have them at all, which is just showing how bad that is right now. We're also developing an all-new item forge. The design already looks very promising as it integrates the collected magic material nodes in your domain. Cool. It'd be nice to be able to craft items. The RNG on which items you get can be annoying. Sometimes you're like, I have 12 weapons but no armors, or 12 weapons but no greaves, or something like this. It'd be nice to be able to craft things. That's just a fun little kind of feature that could be nice. Balancing the game remains an ongoing task, focusing on addressing overpowered meta playstyles and combat synergies. Top priority goes to adjusting the buffing of ranged units, among other considerations. Well, I just did a tome review and talked a lot about how the enhancement effects are generally better for range than otherwise. I did find my early engagements with this game, I found ranged attacks to be super powerful. However, things like Storm Spirits really put a stop to range spam. I would like to see more counters to range spam, but I would like to have range still be a valuable option. At the moment, the meta balance, I would say, isn't ranged or it isn't a unit problem at all. It's a hero problem. I would say the meta playstyle right now, for at least the multiplayer that I'm playing, is extremely powerful hero stacks. So maybe the hero nerf that they've already addressed, that or already said they're going to do with increased cost, maybe that can help. But I think there's other problems there. So if we see a bunch of archer nerfs, I don't know that fixes problems right now. It's certainly something. So we'll see. Faction identity. Faction creation lies at the heart of the game, and we're committed to enhancing it across updates. Expect more options for customization and evolution, such as an additional form trait slot and traits themselves, and new ways to alter army visuals. We're striving to improve faction identity and differentiation both from the start and as factions progress as we continue to develop the game. We hope this summary of okay, so that's their faction change. What do I think of that? I think faction identity will matter if summons get addressed properly and heroes, right? Because again, the meta that I'm a part of, at least, is extremely efficient creeping with hero summons and max leveled hero, or not max level because you don't max those out anytime soon, but extremely high level heroes, lots of them very early, being very powerful units on the battlefield, right? So that's what I'm seeing mostly. So if we see faction changes, I think it's fun to have more customizable factions for sure. I would love to see faction units be relevant, but the faction units tend to be pretty unexciting compared to tome units and summons. So I think this could work. You know, this is pretty vague, so it could work in lots of different ways. But one of the ways I might like to see specifically them do is to make faction units worth training compared to tome units by and large, because I don't think they are. We have generic pikemen, generic warriors. Like generic shield units are the worst type of unit in the game. They're so useless. And low-level shock units are pretty useless too, especially if they don't have mobility effects, right? So like that is like the starting units for half the things that are happening. Like the units that I mostly care about from faction units are some of the battle mages and mostly the support units are what I care about from faction units. So we'll see. I don't mind the idea of leaning more heavily into faction identity, but I think you can get that to naturally occur by getting the unit and hero balance, like tome unit versus faction unit balance, and then the hero balance at a better state. I think that will naturally push people into leaning into their faction identity. And if you give more form traits and form slots, that's going to help too, for sure. We hope this summary of our upcoming plans is helpful. Please note all of the above is in various stages of development, so things may still change. To conclude, we sincerely appreciate your continuous support, invaluable feedback, and patience as we enhance Age of Wonders 4. Your input fuels our passion to create the best strategy game possible. Thank you for being a part of our community, and please continue sharing your thoughts. P.S. If you are interested in impacting AOW's 4 development directly, our closed beta is still open for applications. We're excited to give more players the opportunity to test upcoming changes to the game and give direct feedback to developers. So through this latest wave of the program, we hope to hear new perspectives and broaden our understanding of the player experience. If you have time to commit and the ability to give constructive feedback, please fill in the form here to be considered. This is all in the right direction. I am concerned about the specifics. The specifics are going to be the death or growth of this game. Looking at things like that I look at as a streamer, for example, the stats of this game's played hours and people watching it and people playing it on Steam. This game has fallen off super heavily. And for me, at least one of the major reasons that I have stopped playing it on stream is I can't get new experiences that are fun, engaging, and challenging. So the major AI update is going to be super exciting. And then if they got to get the balance better than it is right now, because the game has so many cool things to do in it. It would be very, very fun to be able to play more multiplayer games of this and more single player games if they get the balance very, very nice. So again, my biggest concern, well, I guess to recap this one final time, I agree with their category headings. I'm worried about the specifics. I'm a little concerned they're still missing some of the specifics that I have seen play out in the many multiplayer games that I have now played. And am a little worried about some of the ways I think they're going to fix this through like specialization into a specific affinity, for example. But we need to see exactly what they do to get a sense of whether or not it works. There's many ways they could hit this problem, and their wording suggests they're at least tracking on many of the problems that I see in the game, even if not exactly as I see them. And that may be good enough to get good updates out of this. So fingers crossed. I love this game. I want to play more of it. Let's hope their updates are good, and I will review these updates as they come out and talk through them. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.